very soon Australia is going, like many other countries, is going to be into a recession, caused almost on purpose, it would assume, by the actions of the Reserve Bank and the lack of ability of the government to act on behalf of the people. Now, anyone assumes when they say they've got all these experts in the field of economics and monetary policy, anyone who claims that either is making a falsehood or they're telling the truth. If it's the truth that they're experts in monetary policy and fiscal arrangements and all that type of stuff, fiat economies, how come they keep making the mistake and causing economic recessions every now and again, like cyclically? How come they can't design? There's no such thing as a perfect system, because there's all sorts of things going on in the world where it affects trade and what have you, different political shenanigans and what have you, or wars or whatever, what causes problems or hiccups in trade. Nonetheless, if you've got a country as wealthy as Australia, with access to so many highly intelligent people, so supposedly, and so many experts, how come they could end up with a time when people can't afford to pay rents, mortgages, can't afford to put food on the table, even when they're working? If people are working harder than ever, or working long hours, or two people working in the household, and they're flat out trying to put food on the table and keep up with all the bills. Now, it seems to me that what their expertise in is saying things that suck people in to believe in what is being said when it's patently dishonest, because the people who are in the upper echelons, if you like, of the monetary policy, they are experts. The experts in evolutionary psychology, which then allows them to use policy, political policy, and the machinations of democracy, that is, you vote for policy, to entrap people into a debt situation, especially when it comes to housing, because of the incentive to speculate on housing and real estate in general, assets in general, by lowering the interest rates down to next to nothing. And then, because people are induced and become habituated, inculcated, if you like, into thinking investment and speculation in housing is the best thing to do, then people are drawn into that idea and suddenly become entrapped into the fantasy of it. Well, they're going to learn it is a fantasy very shortly, as more and more people find they cannot afford the mortgages or cannot afford the power bills. Because the other furphy, that is where one was supposed to be experts in, the lack of expertise, or the expertise in what spin is about the only thing the expertise in, is we have free energy from the wind and the sun. And yet they've doubled the price of power, and therefore that it's in itself, through that misadventure, misuse of the English language, they've increased the cost of power. That's inflated the cost of running every possible single business, every household, every hospital, every aged care home, and everything you can think of. All those things are affected by the devaluing of wages according to the cost, inflationary pressures of higher interest, then the advent of higher interest rates all of a sudden, especially just after the advent of COVID, which was a disaster for the economy, was a crisis. Now there's another crisis being created on top of the energy crisis, because if energy had been left alone, or they'd worked out first and put some real experts together and worked out how to reduce the cost of electricity whilst reducing emissions, or reducing the cost of energy while reducing emissions, then they would have been able to then keep a lid on major negative inflationary products or byproducts of poor policy, or policy that's made out to be a clever policy because trust us, we're the government, and yet it shows they can't really have any experts at all. But that can't be the truth. They must be experts in there who understand, as I've said, who understand evolutionary psychology and allow to people to believe we're saving the planet, we're saving climate change, we're stopping climate change, and using that as a method of creating a fear so you'll put up with the inflationary byproduct of higher electricity prices, what adds to the two basic, most fundamental and basic economic factors in all households, all businesses, all hospitals, all schools, everything you can think of is rents for paying your rents for a roof over your head, or paying your mortgage for your roof over your head, or even having your tenants pay your mortgage and pay their rents. Whatever, it's a compounding negative system, and having that, and the top of that is housing inflation. That's what's gone bizarre, and bizarrely allowing foreign nationals to come in and play in local markets, in local real estate markets as well. So local people cannot possibly compete anymore within the local area in buying a house for themselves because of the massive cost of housing now, and because of there's a chance now without a doubt there's going to be a recession. The thing is, it's all very, very predictable. You can predict and very easily predict human nature if you put a policy in that sucks people into thinking housing speculation is the best thing in the world, and they'll suck more and more people into that. And you keep we've got to lower interest rates to stimulate the economy, lower interest rates to stimulate the economy, rather than let nature take its course in the economy, which will then self-correct anyway. By lowering interest rates, all that's done is cause a massive inflation. That's the primary cause of real inflation is lowering interest rates, because of the end result of that, they've had to now marginally raise interest rates by a massive amount over such a short period of time, which likes to pulling the rug from under the average person's feet, as if they're trying to decimate what is called the middle class, which will be the result of this, unfortunately. So when there's no experts, I believe there really are extremely clever and intelligent people who are acting according to an agenda. That means they're governing monetary policy in as many countries as they can get their hands on. In other words, democracies using the political system to use climate change for one thing. On one side of the ledger, climate change is used to create the means of raising energy prices, and on the other side of the ledger, on the right-hand side of the ledger, the traditionalists, the conservatives, if you like, are into speculating in houses because they're the capitalists, you see. So you've got two sides of the pudding, two sides of this magic pudding called democracy, and now working together to crush the middle class, because people have actually voted for the actual very things that's going to cause countries great harm. And as we can't discuss these things, they're not discussed by the media, what else can you do but discuss it amongst yourselves? And hopefully this message I'm bringing now gets through to maybe more than one or two people who might pass the message on. Thank you.